in galleries or elsewhere, and I just happened to be selected for that one. So I was really glad, and then I kind of thought, like, what shall I do there? My proposal was for something else, for some textile work, but because it's quite cold in the Crypt Gallery at this time of year, I thought felt making is going to be a bit tricky. So I decided to curate an exhibition of drawings, which I have been wanting to do for a long time. So it seemed like a perfect venue. Yeah, partly because the lights are very good, professional in the gallery. And then there are these old arches that kind of, I felt like framed my pieces really beautifully in the space and kind of had a correspondence with the lightness of my watercolor and mixed media drawings. So it was like I didn't need frames for the drawings because the space kind of did the framing for me.
Okay, so just imagine we are there now.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did you feel? How did you feel when you saw your painting here at the first time?
I just felt like, yay, amazing. I imagined it right. You know, sometimes as an artist, you've got that moment that, you know, you imagine something, some kind of conversation between the context and your work, or your work and other people's work, or other, you know, creative practices, and you've kind of imagined it right, so it's a good starting point. Then, yeah, so I really enjoyed the moment that I realized that, yay, this is going to be good. The drawings, which I had flattened or pressed before taking them to the gallery, I could just see, like, yeah, this is going to look great, and I'm going to be proud of the exhibition, which I was.
Okay. It might be a bit similar one.
No worries.
What does this place mean to you?
I had never been to the Crypt Gallery before. I knew of it because I live fairly locally.
Sorry, Heini, when I ask a question, I try to say what this place means to me is. So
okay.
I'm going to add my questions to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what does this place mean to you?
This place means to me, I guess, one of the places where you can go in the city and where you're kind of transported somewhere else. So in a busy city as London is, it's really nice to know places where you can go and you'll have a bit of space for your own thoughts, and you know, you can get calm, and I really feel like even though this place is right next to the busy Euston Rd, it has its own character and its own kind of time. And in a way, it's like, you know, it's a sanctuary, it's a religious building above the Crypt Gallery, but it's a kind of sanctuary in the sense that anybody, you know, who wants to have a bit of a breather from the city, hectic city rhythm, really kind of can tune into that as a sort of way of time. Yeah, like burial grounds tend to be like that, and this is essentially a burial ground.
Lovely. Okay, it's another similar on why was it important to you to show your work in Euston, but probably you already covered that.
It's nice. It's a nice one. I haven't actually. Yeah.
Okay. Why was it important to you to show in Euston?
Euston is like, it's so busy, and my drawings have been made in this city, the ones I showed. So it's really nice to show in the location where they kind of stem from. I mean, they come from my, you know, background in drawing and everything I've done in life anyway, and my, you know, rural setting where I grew up, and the, you know, small city of Helsinki. Helsinki is the capital, but it's a small city compared to London. But in a way, those drawings, they respond to London and to the kind of hectic lifestyle of London. And they are kind of my moments of concentration, kind of deeper looking and response to life in the city. So it was really nice to have it at the heart of the, you know, city in a little bit kind of unusual gallery as well.
Excellent. You probably already covered this, but outside there is traffic and noise. Inside here is quiet. Why is this contrast important to you?
I think quiet is a good starting point for looking at drawings. And my drawings are quite quiet, and I think they require that curated silence in order to be able to then speak to me. And that contrast from coming from the busy, noisy outside to the quiet, or the stone quiet space, and that is a kind of preparation. And it's a bit like ritualistic, I suppose, like ancient rituals often. I don't know, I'm thinking of the kind of Etruscan tombs, for example. They have a kind of really interesting architecture where you enter and it gets quieter, and then it's like very, very different space once you enter them. I've been to a few ancient ones, and there's something a bit similar with that crypt. I think you go down a bit and it gets quiet, and then you're kind of able to contemplate drawings. So yeah, it's slightly ritualistic setup, I suppose. It prepares for, looking at art. It's the same that happens in other galleries, I guess. You enter and it's suddenly white, or you enter and it's whatever. It's a different space from the rest of the environment.
Very good. So, okay, what feelings did you have when you paint these works?
Yeah, I feel a lot actually when I'm drawing, and these are drawings from life. So I've been in locations, looking at real people, real animals, real landscape or cityscape, and trying to capture the movement or the kind of life of whatever I'm looking at, I suppose, or the atmosphere or the weather. And then what I'm feeling, that kind of filters through the activity of drawing from life. Yeah, drawing from life, it allows me to feel things, but it's a really it's quite a kind of technical, and it's a fun challenge for me. So yeah, these are like positive moments that I'm exhibiting. Kind of, artist's life has different kinds of emotions and feelings, but these are kind of, the successful moments where I managed to, cycle somewhere, set up, it's still not raining, and, I'm able to do the essential. I'm doing art here.
Okay, that's great. Okay. Is there one painting that is very special to you? If there's one, why?
Well, there's one old drawing, which is one of my children. That's a very special one to me out of that selection. I made it one evening when they were all asleep. And I guess it encapsulates, years of my practice in a way. Yeah, just finding little moments. And also because children are so cute, but they are so quick. So it's quite difficult to draw them. It's a fun challenge, but you have to be quite quick at drawing children when they're drawing. Yeah.
Okay, that was good. How long did you prepare for this exhibition?
The opportunity to do an exhibition came quite quickly, so I didn't have very much time to think about the curation or the selection of the drawings, but it was not difficult because I knew that I have a bunch of large watercolor drawings or mixed media drawings which I have never shown, just because it hasn't been like easy to think like how to show them without framing, and then the frames would be very big and bulky if I did frame them. So it was I didn't really need more time than that, but it was a very busy week to prepare and to build the exhibition.
What do you want people to feel when they see your art?
I guess I want to create a space where people can feel whatever is relevant to them, or feel nothing, be carried away with the drawing to whatever memory or a dream or experience they've had, or to simply be inspired by the drawn marks. I like looking at other people's drawings a lot, so I'm often drawn to drawings in exhibitions, and the kind of magic of what a few lines can do when it's right. So if people kind of get that kind of sense of, oh wow, that's, I can really see what's in that, what that would have been before it was a drawing, although it's like a quick one, then I feel like the drawing is successful and my display of the drawing. There's this spider skeleton drawing, which is part of the insects series, which I made in a park. in central London. And I think that was one of the kind of favorite ones. Some people mentioned it. And I think that, I don't know what the spider skeleton made people feel, but I think that's a good example of a very simple, small drawing that can somehow talk to people, maybe make people feel. But yeah, I like to leave people to it, and if they look at my work, I quite enjoy it that they go away with something that I don't know. I don't know what they're feeling.
Okay, it might be a difficult one, but does noise affect your creativity?
The noise does affect my creativity. I really like trying to find spaces where I have the quiet. I can think better when it's quiet. And that's why I often draw outside as well, because, like some noise is more quiet than quiet. For example, birdsong, or I'm thinking of the Estonian composer Arvo Pärt. I feel like his music is like more quiet than quiet. And often like the outdoors kind of provides me with that sort of sensibility that even if there's noises, but it still kind of, helps me to concentrate and be overwhelmed by my own inner world rather than responding to the world around me so much.
Okay. This might be one you already covered, but when people coming from the loud street, what do you hope they experience here?
Whenever I curate an exhibition, I want to curate an experience that people kind of can maybe separate a bit from their everyday life. And as somebody interested in art education, I always kind of try to think like, how can I be welcoming to all ages, meaning children, young people, obviously other ages too. And I kind of wish that this exhibition and all exhibitions I do would not put young people off going to exhibitions. So that's my goal, that there's something that at least their relationship with art exhibitions stays neutral. And this is an exciting space. So I think that kind of did it for the younger visitors. It's just a really, really nice place to come and see. It's exciting. There's interesting sounds coming from the street through the openings from the crypt. It feels like there are people living there, but there aren't, we checked.
Okay, we're going to go back to the questions about you. Okay, this might be, I might fit this in the beginning of the video. For people who don't know your work yet, for people who don't know who you are, who is Heini King?
Yeah, so my name is Heini King, and I'm a multidisciplinary artist, originally from Finland. I'm based in London since nearly 20 years now. I started my creative career with doing textiles, but I studied art, fine art, some years ago at Central St. Martin's, and I work in painting, film, performance, drawing, photography, and textiles, to mention a few. I also have a socially engaged practice, so I like to make art with others in exciting ways and unexpected ways.
What first inspired you to become an artist?
Well, my origin stories of becoming an artist, I mean, there are several, but I guess studying art back in Finland as part of my first degree, and then more recently here in London, that kind of prepared me for a career in the arts. Studying art really kind of made me understand what it could look like professionally and what kind of options you have as an artist to function in society and to work professionally. I also got to know other artists, so it's inspiring to know that I'm not on my own. There's lots of us wanting to make art, wanting to make a living out of art, and wanting to create change through our creative practices in society and in different ways. So that's probably what's kind of inspiring me to stay an artist, is that, it's not me, it's us. It's we are needed, even if we don't always get paid fairly or enough for our time and effort and all the things we do. It's important that for societies to have artists and access to arts and art education for all ages is really close to my heart and important.
Okay. What brought you to London?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I came to London with my partner, who is British. So we moved as a young family and we've stayed. As many people, we planned to stay for just a short period of time, but once you do the great move, you don't often move back. So that's what brought me here.
Sounds me. That's good.
Yeah.
Right, I think we are quite good at the moment. So you started your art since you started living here, or you?
No, I did study back in Finland, and as a young person, I always had like hobbies to do with either mime or art or dance. But yeah, different creative fields. But I've become like a more focused in terms of contemporary art since living in the UK and since studying art again as a mature student after my children were a bit older.
Yeah, I think we covered. Do you have any questions you want to ask yourself? You mentioned something. You've got some questions you want to add or comment or?
Yeah. Is there anything else about the exhibition?
We covered pretty much everything.
I think we've covered it quite nicely. Yeah, I don't really have anything in mind.
Do you prefer working alone or in a studio with others?
With these drawings, I really enjoyed the aspects of collaboration. So I would say I prefer working with others, but I do like my own space in the studio as well. Yeah, I would say a combination works best for me. It's inspiring to work with others, like, whether they're people or spaces or animals, like in these drawings. I work very differently when I'm in the studio and I'm not drawing or painting from life. Painting from imagination is a very different process to me and a challenging one, which I enjoy, and that tends to those works tend to go towards like abstracted landscapes. But that's going to be another exhibition then.
What has been one of the biggest challenge in your journey to be an artist?
Yeah, negotiating time between different activities is a challenge as an artist. There's a constant kind of thinking like, if I work in this gallery part-time, how much, time do I have for my practice then? Or if I, do another job outside of the arts, would that work better? Or should I go and do a residency and then, it's all that puzzle of, how to make it work, how to pay for a studio that's a suitable one, and how to proceed in your career, of course, like how to make connections, how much to give, of your time for free for like do-it-yourself projects, because you always get something when you go out there and do whatever, but then you can end up spending a lot of time for things that then are away from your actually like producing art or developing your research.
Excellent. I think we covered pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Unless you want to add something?
Yeah, I can't really think of anything.
Okay. Yeah, introduce yourself. Okay. Any final message to the people?
No, I don't think I have a final.
Next.
Come to my exhibition.
Okay. I think we've done it.